because what the National Weather Forecast is showing is that the low pressure area south of Tallahassee in the Gulf of Mexico might evolve into this year's very first, and this is the headline that you're looking at right now, New Orleans may face an unprecedented weather situation this weekend, is related to the National Weather Service, showing that the low pressure area south of Tallahassee in the Gulf of Mexico might evolve into this year's first hurricane that will be called Barry. If it forms, its path is expected to head for Louisiana and Texas. Now, separate from any potential hurricane, the intense rain and flash flooding that were already a weather problem this morning in New Orleans. TV reporters were out in the French Quarter this morning showing deep water in the streets from heavy rains. There has been so much rain this spring from the Midwest to the Gulf that by today, the Mississippi River is up to a 16-foot crest near the top of the levees. And even without a hurricane, the National Weather Service's Advanced Hydrologic Prediction Service has used this graph to show the Mississippi River at New Orleans is expected to crest at 20 feet on Saturday, July 13th. The levees top out around 20 feet. If the forecast stands, water is expected to flood over the levees along the banks of the river. And if potential Hurricane Barry is added to this high levee situation, what happens in New Orleans? The Mississippi levees were built up to 20 feet to protect the low-lying city at the mouth of the Mississippi. But spokesman Ricky Boyette at the Army Corps of Engineers in the New Orleans district has been telling reporters, quote, "We have had high water events in hurricane season, but we have never had a water elevation forecast like this," close quote. More than 20,000 customers around New Orleans this morning did not have power as of 10 a.m. local time, according to Energy New Orleans. Some departures out of Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport were delayed by the rainstorms. The New Orleans Regional Transit Authority said all of the buses and streetcars were at a standstill. And dangerous flash flooding was a real threat until late morning. Normally, hurricanes come later in the summer, when the Mississippi River is usually quite low. But that's not what is happening now, with the historic high river crest of 16 feet above sea level and climbing toward this weekend. A storm surge from a potential Hurricane Barry, even if it is a small hurricane, added on top of all of this, could cause the Mississippi River to crest so high that the levees that normally would protect New Orleans won't, and there could be really serious flooding in that wonderful city that is below sea level in Louisiana. And why is the Mississippi River in early July 2019 cresting so high in the levees? Global climate change is the likely answer. The Midwest has had so much rain and flooding of farms so far this year, and lots of that water has gone into the Mississippi River. Slate.com reported on Tuesday, July 9th, about the potential New Orleans flooding crisis that, quote, already this year, the Bonnet-Carré spillway in the foreground of this photo, with New Orleans in the far background. And that spillway is the last chance to relieve pressure before the Mississippi River hits New Orleans. And this year of 2019, the spillway has been opened twice for the first time in history. That means the Bonnet-Carré dumped several rivers worth of fresh water into the Gulf of the Mississippi River, and it is already too late to use the spillway to close the river levels downstream. ahead of the current storm. Close quote, local news. So what will happen in New Orleans this coming weekend?